The Devil and Daniel Webster is adapted from a short story and is a fairly familiar story. Even if you've never read the book or seen the film, you're probably familiar with the basic plot. Hell, The Simpsons even did a version of it for one of their Halloween specials. The movie revolves around a down-on-his-luck farmer, Jarvis Stone, who after days of frustrations and hardships meets up with the devil himself and sells his soul for 7 years of good luck. The change of fortune is immediate, with Jarvis finding a pot of gold in his barn that allows him to pay off his debts, and his good luck continues as he becomes richer and richer, spreading his influence and wealth all over New England. The titular Daniel Webster is a pious politician who Jarvis and his family look up to. Jarvis even names his firstborn son after him, and he becomes friends with the family after the newly rich and influential Jarvis gives an impassioned speech to the town to support Webster as he represents all that is good about the country. Jarvis swears to his wife that the money will not change him, but it does, though the movie shows this as a gradual change, not a sudden one. He doesn't become a miser, nor does he start immediately taking advantage of others right away, but the devil worms his way in and out of his life to slowly change him. The most drastic change being a maid who seduces him and drives a wedge between him and his wife. She's clearly in the employ of the devil. Once the 7 years are up, Jarvis is faced with the reality when he sees what happens to his former debtor, who in the past had made a similar deal with the devil. When his time is up, he dies. Not wanting to die, he has to reverse the damage he's done to his family, and Daniel Webster agrees to fight for him, putting his own soul on the line to represent Jarvis's right to keep his soul in a trial against Satan, who calls forth a jury of the damned. Like many older films, there are several versions of this one, and it was even originally released under the title All That Money Can Buy. And while it got good reviews, it didn't exactly make a lot of money. Later on, it was re-released at a shorter length, but the cuts were done so badly that people who now saw the film for the first time and enjoyed it demanded a restored version of the original, which eventually came, though some of the restored footage looks a lot different. Though I found that the blurry parts actually add to the weird ethereal ambience that this movie has. The film is dark and tense, and I would best describe it as suspenseful. The characters are fairly realistic, and Jarvis's change and eventual breakdown makes sense. The story at its heart is a cautionary tale, but whether you take it literally or not, it doesn't matter. The lesson told here is that what you're going to reap what you sow. Good luck and wealth can carry you so far, but you may lose something bigger in the long run. While the movie presents the something bigger as being Jarvis's soul, you could also argue that his family was the bigger picture. His mother is pious and good-natured, and she's frightened by the new version of her son. His wife is meek and sweet, but slowly is driven away by the more aggressive and seductive maid, and his son is cast away from good influences by this wedge and becomes spoiled. The Devil and Daniel Webster gets a lot right with the subtle performances and excellent score, but it suffers a bit in the pacing. While I appreciate the nuanced and gradual approach to Jarvis's downfall, sometimes it felt like it was taking a bit too long. I think that I agree with the decision to cut the movie, but perhaps not as drastically or as sloppily. While not an out-and-out horror film, there are some truly gripping moments, mostly due to the excellent musical cues, grounded acting, and perhaps greatest of all, the thought that good or bad luck could change a person for the worst. I give the film an 8 out of 10. Perhaps with tighter editing it might even be perfect, but the long second act weighs heavily on what is otherwise an excellent film.